Okay, welcome to episode 34 of I Just Got My Kid to Sleep. I'm Michael Pasek. I'm wearing a button-down shirt today, which is different than usual because I didn't get my kids to sleep, I'm sure, but I flew today, so I was in Maine yesterday, and Maine is very far from California, and I had a really long layover, and I'm sure this is what you want to know. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying that sometimes I get my kid to sleep, and it's called I Just Got My Kid to Sleep, and sometimes I know he's asleep. The more majority is I just got my kid to sleep. But yeah, and here's a little tip for you when you travel. If you are stopping, if you have a long layover and you can visit your parents, then you go in your closet at your parents' house. If you still have that, I have it. I don't live there. I live in this apartment. This is not their house, but I did live there. If you follow, I'm a stand-up comedian. If you follow that's something everybody knows. Not everybody. Some people, but the people listening to the podcast, I feel like no. You can get a shirt, and then I didn't have a suitcase because I checked my bags all the way home, but I was like, I can carry this shirt home with me, on me, and then I also have one more layer of warmth. Because did you know that in the sky, it gets so much colder the higher you go? Isn't that crazy? It is so cold out there. And they regulate the temperature, but not always warm, not always successful at maintaining a warm. So I had this shirt on, and then this is my debut of a button down on set today. Yeah, that's where we're at. Episode 34, button down shirt, buttoned up. The button, that's a Bob Newhart, the button down mind, I think, because it was a big deal back in the day to have your shirt unbuttoned, and his mind was just unbuttoned, just going unbuttoned. I was in Vermont, and I always regret. I don't regret, but I wonder whether I should share where I was because people might have been there and then been like, "Oh, I can't believe I missed you." I don't think people really think that, but sometimes people on social media, they'll be like, "When are you coming to this city?" I'm like, "I was just there," and I feel like we just missed each other, just like in the wind. And then I always say, "Don't worry, I'm gonna keep doing it, because I will. I will keep coming back to wherever I was." But yeah, my this is one of the episodes where I was traveling, so I didn't make it home in time. My flight was one of those deals, one of the deal flights, which are good. I like the deal flights, but there was a really long layover in Chicago. My parents, I got to have dinner with them, but I also went to work for my parents. My parents, their technology skills are off the charts, but in the wrong way. My dad said a sentence to me that I haven't heard in decades. He was like, "Michael, I need you to fix my Garmin." And nothing against the Garmin company. I appreciate them. They're not a sponsor. I don't have a sponsor, so it's not like they chose not to sponsor. But like they are. I got Google Maps on my phone, I don't know, 15 years ago, and I haven't looked back. Maybe not 15, maybe 12, maybe 10. It feels like a lifetime. So I don't know what it's like. I think I had one time because I had another person driving my car for safety reasons, but I haven't used it in a long time. But I was like, "Yeah, you picked me up from the airport. We're going to have dinner." Of course. And so I turned on the Garmin, but I felt like he was asking somebody who almost knew less than he did. Like, I haven't used a Garmin. He's touched that Garmin more often than I have. Like, that'd be like if he's like, "Michael, I need you to figure out what's wrong with my record player." I had one when I was a kid, but it was like for kids. It was a mini one. And now, I guess sometimes adults have record players. Maybe that's a bad analogy. Maybe that. "Hey, Michael, can you figure out my 8-track? I never had an 8-track. What is it about parents that when their kids grow up, they like lose the ability to learn new technological things? Like when I was a kid, we got a VCR. It was the first time Other people had VCRs. Other people had all the stuff. But I remember we went to the store and we got a VCR, which I don't know why. We didn't like rent a record amount of movies after that. We only had one, if you remember from previous podcasts. If you name the movie that I had growing up on VHS as the main one for a long time, I will send you something. Send me a message on social media at Michael Palasak, and I will send you all 3 autographed CDs of my stand-up for free. For, I don't know how many people. 5? I think I have 5 of each. 5 people. If you message me the movie, I hope I said it on here. I think I did. I feel like I'm going to give in and just say it, but I already offered the deal. But you got to message me, like a direct message, which is kind of unfair. But I have an email, too. You can also email me at michaelpalasak@gmail. I just gave you all my real, I think Michael at michaelpalasak.com works, too. But email me within a week. You got a week for this giveaway. This is the giveaway. The inaugural, did I turn the mic off? The inaugural giveaway. If you can name the VHS tape that we had growing up, I might even throw in a shirt that could be the right size. If you include your shirt size, 5 people. The first 5, if there's 5, 3 CDs and a shirt. This offer, I'm making the offer like it's an auction, like I'm not hearing anybody telling me, but no one's going to tell you, Michael, for the whole week. And I just threw in a shirt. It's a shirt. I have 2 options, so include that in the message. One of those shirts says not friendly, because I have a joke about how people always say their dogs are friendly. And I was like, yeah, of course. What are you going to do? Bring your dog to the park and unleash it? And be like, I don't know how this is going to go. And then be like, not friendly. That's a quick part. That's a very poor version of the joke. And then I also have a couple of sizes of shirts that say not a stalker, because I have a shirt. I have a joke about how people come up to me after a show and they're like, I don't want to be a stalker, but I saw a video of yours on YouTube. And I'm like, that you shouldn't, if you don't want to be a stalker, you shouldn't say. You should watch the special on your own. The jokes are better there. But 1 free shirt and 3 CDs for free, no shipping even. If you can name the VHS, I hope I named it. Man, if one person gets it, then I'll know that this is a real contest. But anyway, we're doing our best. My special will be coming out. I don't have a date yet, but it looks like I'm looking at the Thanksgiving night to have it go live, because I feel like that might be a good time to compete with the best football of the week. I feel like, I don't even know what the game is, but I feel like after Thanksgiving dinner, people can watch it together as a family, as a priority. It's really good. The quality is really good. The sound is really good. The video is really good. The jokes are if you haven't been to my show, you haven't seen any of the stuff. None of the stuff has been online before. And it's called He's Friendly, because it's about the dog, the people. It's a big whole thing. We're figuring it out. But anyway, I have some things to talk about today. I'll get to those. But that's the big deal. The giveaway is 3 CDs, 1 T-shirt. You don't even have to choose. If you don't want the CDs, you can tell me. If you don't want the shirt, you can tell me. If you don't want any of it, you can just be like, I just want you to know that I listen to you. I'll probably appreciate that. I'm really bad at going to the post office. I know there's a way to do it where you don't have to go to the post office. I feel like I definitely talked about that, because people will be like, when I don't have someone's size, I get it if you want to order it online. But some people are like, I'll just order it online. I'm just like, you're going to make me work when I go home. But I got to offer them online, at least for now. The shirts aren't in yet. We're looking at next week for the shirt. So everything won't come in. Give me like 6 months. No, probably like 2, I would say, is safe. I'm going to aim for faster. Low power mode. I just plugged you in. My phone's doing a thing where I plug it into things, and it's just like charging, and then I hit record, and it's like, just joking, not charging, work. Well, we're going to do our, this is going to be great. I'm going to adjust it real quick. It'd stop. We're going to have to glue it together. I'm never touching that thing again. The video might just be shorter this week. That's just how we're writing it out, everybody. If you're watching the video right now and it feels a little shorter, then the rest is on the audio. And a lot of people have Patreons where they give them bonus footage. You pay like $1 or $3 and you get like bonus video. Or when I'm not making fun, I do realize I was saying it like I was making fun of it. I think it's pretty cool. But my Patreon is free, and it's just like the parts of the technology that work still. Anyway, yeah. So, big contest, special date, hasn't been announced yet, but it's coming out no matter what I do to stop it. And I'm very proud of the show. People really like the show. This is just a commercial for the show. It's not. Keep listening. There's a lot to hear. I get off a plane, you know. I know it's called I Just Got My Kids to Sleep. I just got off a plane, and I got some good things to talk about. I have a friend, a sleeper, hello sleepers, who gave me some things to talk about. And that's just one thing I'd like to take a time to say thank you for, because, you know, this is my podcast. I'm getting my kid to sleep. But when you're a parent, sometimes it's a village, you know, that puts your kid to sleep. That didn't sound right. But, like, it's a village to help. Like, I don't know if you can tell, but I don't always have ideas, you know. But this anonymous sleeper has given some ideas that she would prefer. Some weird stuff on the sound. She would prefer that I talk about. And I like that. I like ideas because no one will know. I don't know. Is this going to work? What is that weird sound? No one Okay. That doesn't sound weird anymore. No one will know whether I talked about them all except me and the sleeper. So the first thing, they asked for my opinion on hotel pillows. And my first instinct to the topic of hotel pillows is that I've never, ever not loved a hotel pillow, because hotel pillows are soft. You know, sometimes they have firm ones. That's incorrect. Sometimes they have a firm hotel pillow. And then sometimes they have different things, but there's always a lot of them, you know? There's always so many. And I like that because I sleep with 2 under my head and 1 under my legs, because that's a need for me. And if for some reason, you know, it's a camping situation, I'm going to have to fold some clothes up and put them under my legs and under my head to equal that. That's what I have to do. That's what I want to do. So I love hotel pillows. As a child, I was blessed with some allergies towards down. And when I first started on the road a lot, you could choose to not have down pillows. But I didn't ever choose it because I was like, let's just see what happens. And I was completely fine. So I think it was all fake. When I was a child, I tested for allergies in the state of Indiana, and they said I was allergic to everything else tested for except hog hair. It's all a scam. No, I'm sure it's real. But I was fine. Hotel pillows, only happy memories on a hotel pillow. Like, I sleep. My hotel this weekend was really, I drove through the night from Vermont to Maine because there were no hotels in the whole state of Vermont. No, there were some. There were just, now one's closed, and I was like, I can sleep. And that's always a gamble, because you can get to a hotel late at night, and it might be not one you expected, and then you're just stuck. But I got to one, and it wasn't one I expected, and I wasn't stuck. I called another one, and they're like, you can come stay here. And they didn't even charge me because it was so late at night for the night before, which was really nice. And that new hotel was the best sleeping hotel that I've been in a long time. Like, there was almost zero light coming in, like just enough light so when you stood up, you knew that you were alive still. That's how much light was in there. And the hotel pillows were fantastic. I fell asleep pretty late, like 5, but I just kept sleeping. Like I would wake up and I would be like, I don't see a reason to wake up, because when you work at night, you don't have to. And I was like, I think this is what depression is. I wasn't depressed. I was really tired, but I was like, I can see this being like kind of nice, like a nice form of depression. And like some people describe death like that, like a long sleep. And I think if I'm about to die, I'm just going to think of that hotel room and be like, that's just where I'll be resting. I don't know. So that's my views on hotel pillows. Thank you, sleeper. What else? Daylight savings time. I believe that is this Sunday. I should have done the research. Maybe the sleeper should have given me some information on this. Sleeper is what I call the people. Listen, I just got my kid to sleep. I have some loyal listeners. And a family member over the summer asked about my listeners. And I said, I have some loyal listeners. And I listed them on a number I thought it was. And he's like, is that how many friends you have? And I was like, I don't think my friends listen to this. I might have said that already. I don't think anybody I know really listens. Some people I know, but not like people I grew up with or family members. No family members, I'm pretty sure, listen to this. I've sent links, but that's fine. This is for us. This is for me and whoever can handle my lack of technology skill. I'm hearing that buzz again. What is that? No, is it plugged in? Is it testing? I don't know. That sounded good, right? We'll see. Just come back next week if it's unlistenable this week. Daylight savings time. I don't know. What's your opinion on it, everybody? Daylight savings time, to me, I grew up in Indiana where there was no daylight savings time. But it didn't really make sense because the world changed and we just didn't. So, like, everything on TV started an hour later in the winter, which kind of sucked because I wasn't able to stay up that late. So, like, during the summer when it was just reruns and you didn't really stay in and watch TV, as a kid, you'd be outside playing in the daylight. Everything was on at like 7. So everything started at 7. But then in the fall and the winter when the new shows are on, this is before streaming, it would just be on at 8. And like my bedtimes, it was a hard 8:30. And that was as like a, I don't know, 12-year-old, 13-year-old, 12-year-old. So I didn't like that everybody switched times, at least that way. I always wished it was the other way. We were on Eastern time in the fall and Central time in the summer. So I would have rather had it like that. I think it's interesting that people say when you get an extra hour of sleep, because people always talk about when you lose an hour of sleep, how you need more sleep to be safe or whatever or healthy. But they actually say there's more car accidents the day after you get an extra hour of sleep because everybody's drowsy. And I don't have that fact checked. So, but I've heard it before, and I believe them. I feel like daylight savings time is a real ripoff because, like, well, it's great as a parent because your child's used to going to bed when it's dark, and all of a sudden for like 6 months you get like that hour where you're like, time to go to bed. And then it switches later, and then when they don't go to bed till later, you're like, well, it's daylight savings time. It's not my fault that he's bed so late. Like if this was daylight savings time, it'd be an hour earlier. So it's really like a chance to give yourself a break. You get a break when it switches to earlier or it gets darker earlier, and then you can give yourself a break when it's not earlier. Like, oh, it's not, but it's really 8. It's really 8. He's on an 8 o'clock. What's he supposed to adjust in 6 months? Is he supposed to be used to this already in 6 months? He probably shouldn't have to adjust. I adjusted to East Coast time this week, which I don't usually ever do. I usually go from Pacific to East Coast when I travel for shows on the East Coast, and I just stay sleeping late and waking up early. But last night I went to bed at a normal time. I woke up at a normal time. I ate breakfast at a normal time. I went for a run before my flight like a normal person, and I felt it's weird. Like when you do stuff at night all the time, or like eat breakfast at weird hours, you kind of feel like a criminal a little bit. Not like a bad criminal, but it's like when I'm waking up at 2 or 3 in the afternoon trying to find a place to get breakfast, it's just kind of like, well, who am I? What kind of worth do I have? And I do work at night, so it makes sense. But it still feels good to be a part of the human race. That's daylight savings time. We're cooking, aren't we? Speaking of cooking, another topic from a sleeper: pineapple. What's my opinion on pineapple on pizza? I got a pen mark on my hand there. Pineapple on pizza, I've had, and I liked it, but I would never. I don't think I've ever chosen it unless it was a part of a buffet. Growing up in my small town, we had a Pizza Hut, and it was like probably one of the nicest restaurants to eat at. And that's nothing against Little Italy or whatever it was called, Mike's Little Italy. That's what it was called. There's an Italian place called Mike's Little Italy, and then a Mexican place, and then I think that was, and then like some chain places. But Pizza Hut was like the light was dimmer. I think if you're an adult, you could order alcohol. Maybe still can. And then they had a Pizza Hut buffet. Buffet. How do you say that word? My mom's always like, it's not buffet. It's buffet. Buffet. How do you pronounce buffet? I think I'm saying it wrong. Anyway, I always felt like I could eat it at a buffet, or I'd be like, this is like a delicacy, some pineapple. I feel like you got to have Canadian bacon on it, though. Anybody out there eat pineapple on pizza without Canadian bacon? I don't know. I love pizza. It's my favorite food. And I feel like when you eat pineapple on it, then you're getting a healthy thing that's not a vegetable. I don't like vegetables on pizza. We talked about that in my Instagram reel where I talk about vegetables on pizza. So if you listen to that, I'm not going to do another version of my joke. I always think it's weird when people do like somebody else. They tell you this joke is funny, and then they tell it to you and it's not as good because they don't really give it their all. But it's even weirder when it's the person whose joke it is and they don't. I just don't want to do the joke because it's not. It's on special, but it's not out yet. But the veggie pizza joke is out. It's on the internet live. And but pineapple's a fruit, I'm pretty sure. Unless it's one of those weird. No, all fruit are fruit, but some things I think are vegetables. Are like cucumbers are fruit. And tomatoes are fruit, and I think that's it. I think that everything else is a vegetable. I thought there were more. I think anything with like all those seeds in the middle, that's a vegetable, is actually a fruit. Anyway, how did we discover which vegetables to eat? Like sometimes I'll be in the grocery store, and I'll be like, actually I've heard other people talk about that. How like, how do you, like if it's green, cows eat grass. Anyway. So, pineapple on pizza. Jack, my son, likes cheese pizza. But he, for some reason, for about a year of his life, if you asked him what kind of pizza you wanted him to order for him, he would say pineapple pizza. And then he would just eat cheese pizza. And he would kind of get upset if there wasn't cheese pizza. So that's insane. And we haven't talked about it. It just kind of stopped. I would just be like, what kind of pizza do you want? He'd be like, pineapple pizza, and I'd order it. He wouldn't eat it. He'd just eat cheese pizza. I think he might be the funniest person I've ever met. Like, that's such a good joke to never explain. Like, this is exactly what I want. I would like this. And then they just eat what you ordered. I don't know if it's such a good joke. I kind of overplayed a little. He's my son. I'm too proud. He also, for a while, I had to sneeze. And I don't want to sneeze, but I have to. It takes me longer to sneeze. Yeah. I couldn't cover my mouth now, but it's good. I thought I got it on my sleeve, but it's gone now. I actually did get a little on my sleeve, but I was a little embarrassed, so that's why I thought I got it on my sleeve. How do people cover their nose when they sneeze like this, where they do like the vampire thing without getting it all over their shirt? I always aim down, but I feel like that's cheating. Like, isn't the whole point to like catch it somewhere? I don't know. Sneezing's so weird. My son also, for a while, he would have pepperoni pizza, and but he didn't really know the word pepperoni. So if you asked him what kind of pizza he wanted, and he wanted pepperoni pizza, he would say macaroni pizza. And then what you do as the parent is you call around town trying to figure out how to get macaroni pizza, because the only one you ever heard of was at a place in Madison, Wisconsin, where they had big slices of macaroni and cheese on pizza. I think it's called Sal's. There's one in Chicago now too, and maybe there's one in Appleton. And it was never anywhere else other than those places. But it's, somehow your at the time 3-year-old son knew about macaroni pizza. Really? And then you find out, oh, he meant pepperoni pizza. That's what it's like being a parent. You listen to your children, you hear your children, and you react to the things they say, and you still get it wrong. because they don't know a lot. Last topic from the sleeper of the week, who's anonymous, is pumpkin spice. I've never been a big coffee person, so I don't know if pumpkin spice is a coffee person thing, but I feel like it's a Starbucks thing. It's a fall thing. I love fall. I love the leaves though, and I love pumpkins. But I feel like I don't really know what pumpkin spice is. I've never been a big pumpkin pie person. Is that pumpkin spice? Is that what we wanted to know? Like, I feel like I never really did caffeine. Like, I'll do Coke or Pepsi or whatever. I don't really like Pepsi anymore. My mom drank Pepsi a lot growing up, and so the smell of Pepsi, back then they had caffeine-free Pepsi. You know, we would have one of those and then watch the VHS, a Don Bluth film that my Aunt Laura bought for us from the pharmacy she worked at as a pharmacist. That's about the contest from earlier. And so I definitely had caffeine in my system. But then I grew up, and I've always been a little amped, you know? I don't know if you could tell. I'm a little less amped right now because I hear this sound. Maybe I should stop saying it. I'll stop saying it. But I'm a little less amped now. Also, I just got off a plane, so my head's a little, like, groggy. One of my favorite things to do, and I'm going to stop saying that I've said this before on other places, but this I definitely said on Instagram, is when you get off a plane, is to, like blow your nose a little bit, and you get a little dizzy. And that's kind of exciting. Like, am I going to fall? I flew in today to Burbank, the airport. It's a small airport, and it's not always the closest, you know, that's available, but it's super small, and you can exit the plane from the back of the plane or the front of the plane. It's so cool. And the back of the plane has stairs, and it's outside. You feel like the president. Right? Get the vote out, right? And today I was so excited because my flight from Chicago to LA was on the flight was very empty. So I'm going to go to the back of the plane. If I'm flying Southwest and it's a full flight, I'm going to try to get that window seat and the emergency exit row, or like somewhere around there. Because the farther you go back on the plane, the tighter the seats are. So if you're in a full row in the last row and you're not sitting next to a kid, because kids, I don't want to say kids are good because it's like, hopefully it's your kid, but someone else's kid is fine. But like, you want the parent to be there. What I'm trying to say is smaller people are better. Like, I sat next to a woman on the way to Chicago from Maine. Like, I had a good row right behind the emergency exit row. And this lady sat, first time I've ever seen this before, she sat in the middle of the two seats. There was like a division going up her back. I've never seen that. I've seen people save seats with bags and suitcases or whatever. Not really suitcases, those go above. But like with different things, or just their words or their eyes, you know. Don't you dare sit there. One time, and I've done the research. I asked a flight attendant. It wasn't really research. It was a conversation I had, a friendly conversation. And Southwest has zero policy on saving seats, which means they're kind of like Switzerland. Is that the neutral country? They're not for it. They're not against it. They're basically like, if it comes down to it, you guys have to decide, which is kind of, you know, what if no one backs down? That's a problem. Like one time I was on a plane and this guy had his wife and then him and then another seat in that row, right? So he was saving one seat in that row, but then he wanted to save another window seat in a different row for a different friend. And I was like, which one? You know, you don't get to save two awesome seats. Your friends can sit next to each other, is what I was trying to say. And he was like, no, I'm saving those. And I looked at the flight attendant. I made eye contact. I didn't pull her into the conversation. I wasn't trying to call her or her company out, but I looked at her and then I looked at him and I was like, they don't have any rules about saving seats. They don't have a thing that says you can save seats. And I'm saying that I don't want you to save two seats because I want one of these seats because they're both good and neither of these people are here. And I don't think you should be able to save both. And the flight attendant came up to me later and she's like, I'm glad that you stood up for yourself, which kind of meant like I didn't have your back because legally we don't have an approach to this, but they're going to have to, you know, something's going to go down. But this lady, she just sat in the middle of the seats, which is It's kind of like you might have thought that she bought both, but she didn't. Like one lady asked if she could sit there, and she was like, well, this guy's coming and he's with me and he's right behind her. So luckily it was all happening right away. And she was like women are usually nicer to sit next to because their shoulders aren't as broad. And a man doesn't have to be that big to have broad shoulders. And if there's one thing I can avoid that makes a great flight, it's touching people. I just feel like if I didn't have to touch the person next to me, then I achieved my goal. Anyway, back to pumpkin spice. Was that a Spice Girl reference? I don't think so. I don't think pumpkin spice was a reference. I don't think she was a Spice Girl. But anyway, the first time I ever had coffee, because that's why I don't know a lot about pumpkin spice, because I feel like it's more of a caffeinated thing, was on a drive to Columbus, Ohio, when I was I was featuring, I think for the first time, at the Funny Bone in Columbus, Ohio. And it was like a great club, and I was driving there, and I didn't realize that like it was going to take so long. Like Columbus is far from where we live near Chicago, and so it's going to be a 6-hour drive, and I was losing an hour, so I had to wake up earlier than I thought, and I was getting so sleepy, so I drank black coffee. That's what I started out on, was black coffee. That's the only way I'll drink coffee. It's black coffee. I feel like it's the healthiest. I don't know if that's true. So I feel like I haven't delved into pumpkin spice, and I feel like it's almost gone now. Do I have a month left for pumpkin spice, or is it going to be peppermint spice soon? Peppermint spice sounds kind of redundant, What's your drink? Cinnamon spice. You can just say cinnamon. So that's it. That's not the podcast. Don't worry. If you want to stop, you could. This podcast can be over whenever you want it to be. One time when I first started doing the podcast, a loyal sleeper, I'm sure, offered the insight of like when I present it on YouTube, just present chunks of it, and I was just like, hey, listen, I have some people that listen to this that aren't necessarily huge into technology, so I think it'd be easier for them to just click once rather than trusting them to click like 4 times, and they were understanding. So, yeah, hotel pillows, love them. They're the best, but also I try to stay at nicer hotels. Daylight savings time, I'm going to appreciate that hour of sleep, but it's just confusing, really. I think it's because of it's not because of the farm animals, right? It's not. I thought like farmers don't like daylight saving. That's why Indiana doesn't have it, because they wake up at the same time. The animals wake up at the same time every day. And I always thought, oh, well, that's just the farmers, until I became a dad. And I was like, well, your kid wakes up at the same time every day, too. I'm pretty sure any child under the age of 10, 11, on Sunday morning, they're going to wake up an hour earlier, which it might be easier to get them to bed earlier, which is like we were saying earlier, and then they'll sleep more when they go to school. Pineapple on pizza. I'm the way Southwest is towards saving seats. I'm not for it. I'm not against it. I'll eat it. So that doesn't really apply to the Southwest thing. But that's where it is. And pumpkin spice, I don't want to say overrated, but I just don't have a rating for it because I've never had it. I don't think I've ever had it. I never had pumpkin spice. What's the first thing I should get? Pumpkin spice. It might be a good thing to try while I break out that VHS of them that I had as a kid that starred. I'm not going to give any more hints because that's so many T-shirts and CDs I got to send out. But yeah, anybody can do that, by the way. Anybody that's listening can, if they want me to hear me talk about something, or you don't have to. It's my job or anybody's job, really. But yeah, it is Monday. I didn't just get my kid to sleep. But I'm home now and I'm wearing a nicer shirt. This weekend I get to go to a thing where I have to wear a nicer shirt. So that's why I brought this nicer shirt home. It's a navy shirt. I haven't really worn a navy shirt in a while. That's a button-down shirt. And it's a little big. But my dryer in my apartment building, it runs hot, man. Like, I feel like everything I own shrinks, or I'm just getting huge. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm getting huge. I think like I would notice. But it feels like clothes that used to fit normally are like a little small. Like I feel like when I put it on low, it's like this is extra hot. And when you put it on extra low, it's like, okay, that's normal. So I just need to dry this a couple times. My shirts, by the way, if you qualify for the contest, they come in small through XXX, and they're a unisex. They're very soft, but they run a little like I wear a large, and it's kind of like if I were to dry it a couple times, it'd be like too fitting for me to like be comfortable. Like I like to sleep in an extra large. I like to wear a large. Yeah. So I brought that back. And then, so yeah, I go out of town and I have to wear a nicer shirt. So I got this shirt I can wear maybe. And then the week after that, I go to Minneapolis, Minnesota, which was the location, Acme Comedy Club, where I recorded and filmed. Well, they didn't really film it. They had a camera up. If you see the video on YouTube, it's a single camera from the back of the room. But that club was so fun. And I'm happy to go back. That whole special is on my YouTube page at the internet. It's called The Internet Live, and near the end of the special, if you want to skip towards it, there's a fun part which maybe I shouldn't talk about because maybe YouTube will like pick it up or something. I don't think YouTube is that smart, but and maybe I talked about this before. I definitely mentioned talking about stuff before. Why do dark shirts tend to get little things on them? Or are there little things on every shirt and we just don't see them? Think about that. Man, what is the theme of this episode? I think when my kid's not here, I don't have that nap that I take, but I'm also a little like freer because I don't have to wake up super early. Because he's already asleep. And I'll pick him up from school. But what was I talking about? These things. And then something else. It's out. Also, can you tell I didn't put my contacts in? You're not supposed to wear your contacts on the plane because it can dry out your eyes. That's from my eye doctor, Dr. Hart. She's a very good eye doctor. I'm going to get a haircut tomorrow, too. Which I thought, this is how haircuts always seem to go for me. I'm always just like, I look in the mirror. Like a couple days ago, I looked in the mirror and I was like, I need a haircut. I definitely need a haircut. But then like 2 days later, I look at myself and I'm like, I don't see any problems at all. This is fine. We could live like that for weeks. But I already scheduled it. And she's great. Her name is Dina. And she's really good. If you're ever in LA, her name is Dina. What is her last name? Dina. Dina Rose. That's what it is. I kept wanting to say her. She has another last name on Instagram. Dina Rose. And during Halloween week, she told me that she will be cutting my hair in costume. So that's exciting for me. I think it's nice. I should have worn a costume today. Man, I missed my chance. I was just saying, like, when you go to work Halloween week, it's nice to be able to wear a costume because it's like, oh, I'm at work, but I'm having fun still, you know? And I could have dressed up for this. I always do holiday stuff late. Like, I could try to do it next Monday. I could wear my costume for next Monday. Jack is going to be Sonic the Hedgehog for Halloween. And he has a normal Sonic the Hedgehog costume that I really like. But then somehow he got a hold of one that has a fan inside of it. And so it shoots up your whole costume so you're huge. So he looks like, it's going to look like a real Sonic the Hedgehog. Like the costume that I like is just like a mask and then like clothes, which I think that's perfect. You know, you are wearing Sonic's outfit. You know, you are. But this one looks like, other than it being like kind of puffy, it's like, oh, is that Sonic? You know, but it's like got air inside of it to blow it out. I wasn't asked. You know, I think one is enough, but he has it, and that's the one he says he wants to wear. But I just feel like Halloween is like so active as a kid. How are you gonna run around with a little fan blowing out your costume? But I guess people do it. But it covers his whole body. Anyways, Halloween, I got dressed up. I have a show, not on Halloween, so I'm not gonna dress up for that. I've never dressed up. No. I did a show one time, and the feature dressed up, and comedy clubs around Halloween, like the weekend before Halloween is when people dress up, and people don't dress up. Sometimes people will but it's usually like not as many people. Like if you want to go out on Halloween, you're like, let's go somewhere where we can, you know, get attention. You know, like not attention, but like talk to people. A comedy club is like the only place as an adult you can get in trouble that's not work for like talking loud and drinking a lot. Like we want people are like, come to this bar and drink, don't talk, also don't drink too much. Like it's weird. But the Halloween spirit is definitely out there, you know? Like I fly, like I was saying, I flew out of Southwest, but last week I flew out of Delta. And the airlines where I was checking in at, the Delta desk is right next to the Southwest desk. And Southwest is really into holidays. Like they celebrate holidays you might not even know. They're like, today it's March 6th, yay, they're Flower Day or whatever. I don't know what it is. But they love so they've had Halloween stuff up since last Christmas. No, that's not accurate. But like they've had it up for a while. Last week, the weekend before the weekend where adults go out for Halloween, there was like a flight attendant who had like a little hat with like a thing on the top and like a kick me sign on the back. Like he was like a nerd from like the 70s or the 60s or something like that. And isn't that weird that had to be a real thing that people treated kids like that. But maybe that was just always a stereotype. That was just for fun. But I feel like at some point, anyway, they were dressing up, and then like spider webs and spiders and everywhere. And then Delta was just like no Halloween stuff. And I kind of was like, you guys gotta, get it going. Like I don't care. Delta is like the cool airlines. It's like the highest rated airline. They get all the cool buzz and whatever. But like, how's your holiday stuff? What's your holiday stuff looking like? You have nothing up for Halloween? 2 weeks before Halloween? Nothing? I don't know. Maybe it's a religious thing. I think everybody celebrates Halloween. That's probably not true. I didn't. But anyway, that was fun. When I fly, I have my headphones in a lot of the time but not too much. Sometimes it's a lot, sometimes a little. But sometimes I listen to them at home too. When Jack goes to sleep, I have AirPods and they're noise canceling. And here's a little confession from me to you. I don't know how to turn off the noise canceling. I feel like whenever my parents ask me to do something technologically, I should be like, yeah, can you help me figure out these noise canceling headphones? I think you like squeeze it. But also, my phone might be about to die now. So I don't know a lot, Man, how coherent is this podcast? So the headphones, I really hope I covered those topics in a thorough way, because then at least one person will be like, thank you. I'm sure everybody will. But the headphones, I think if you press it, that turns off the. But I like the noise canceling too, though. But when you're on a plane, noise canceling is great. Is it good for your ears? I'm pretty sure. I should do research. But then when I get home and noise canceling's on, that can be kind of weird. Have you ever walked through your house with noise canceling headphones on? I feel like I hear like a normal sound that's a normal sound in my environment, but it's like so dulled because of the noise canceling headphones. I'm just like, what was that? Oh, like I feel like there's constantly like a ghost or someone breaking into my house, or a ghost breaking into my house. Like I live on the second floor of an apartment building, and when a big truck goes down the street, my building shakes. And I was told it's on purpose because we live in California and it's for earthquakes or whatever. But that's also an easy way to tell someone that we're not fixing your foundation. I don't know. That's like a metaphor, right? Isn't that a metaphor? Like the trees that bend in the wind during the hurricane or whatever, they don't break. But the trees that are stiff, they get torn out of the ground and turn into firewood and they burn. So my building's the good one. My building would vibrate so much when a big truck went by that like Jack had this toy where you put a musical instrument, it's like a wooden kind of puzzle piece, and you match up the musical instrument with the piece that it fits in, and it would play the music like this little song with that musical instrument. So you learn musical instruments and also shapes and stuff. And I would get him down for a nap, And if I didn't turn that toy off, sometimes a truck would go drive by, the whole building would vibrate a little bit, and that toy would just, like, it sensed that it thought the puzzle piece was being put in just because it was, like, vibrated, and it would start to go off. Which, like, is kind of weird as a parent. It's weird as a human, because, like, a child's toy just going off at night during, like, bedtime, or in the middle of the day when everyone's trying to sleep, it's kind of like, that could be kind of like a scary, like a horror movie thing. It's like all of a sudden, Melissa and Doug, how about Melissa and Devil? Like, it's just like all of a sudden, this this child toy is coming to life and gonna murder. I don't know. But so if I wasn't a parent, I might be like, oh no. But as a parent, when it would happen, I would sprint into that room so fast to turn it off so he didn't wake up. Like when you get your kids to take a nap, oh my gosh, it's the best feeling ever. I've heard people bailing on naps. Not bailing, but like after 2, Jack took naps and well into 4. So don't give up. Anyway, I hear when my building shakes and I have my AirPods in, I feel like it's an earthquake, which is scarier because I can't hear the truck. I just feel everything shake. I'm like, oh no. So that's that. That's what I was thinking there. So yeah, I had a lot of fun doing shows. Some people wanted a picture, which I always think is interesting because there's always a couple that wants a picture, and one person will like come stand next to me, and the other person's just taking the picture, like it's the 80s, and all we have is one camera, and no way to take a picture of self, you know. And some people know they'll do a selfie, and usually when someone is doing that, someone behind them will be like, "Do you want me to take the picture for you?" Which I always try to do. If I'm out in public, especially even if I'm holding my child and I see a family like trying to do a I never know what to do with selfies though. You know, if I see a family member taking a picture of everybody, I'll be like, "Do you want me to take a picture?" And usually they're like, "Thank you." But sometimes you see a group doing a selfie and you're like, "Do you need me to take a picture?" And they're like, "No, we're good." And then I feel so small in those moments because it's like, I didn't have to talk. Now they just think I wanted to talk to them. Now they just think that I wanted to be a helpful Harry, anybody that begins with an H. When really, I was just legit seeing the need for something in the world. So when someone's doing a selfie, they might just want a selfie. But sometimes you got to take that risk of being rejected. I can feel rejection for the smallest things. And then not feel it at all for big things, which is crazy. I really like watching people take a picture because they'll like, everyone has like a smile, you know, but I love the moment after the picture because some people drop that smile so fast. And I might have talked about this before, right after I talked about the video we got as a kid from Walgreens. Like one time I was at a Cheesecake Factory eating dinner. They're not a sponsor. At a different table. And but like their tables, they have like booths kind of off one side, and then there's like booths facing a different way. So we were like, our booth is perpendicular to their booth, and so the lady in the middle was her birthday, and there were like a couple people, and then they had one person taking the picture, which I probably should offer to take it, but they went to take the picture, and the lady in the middle, it was her birthday, and everyone's like, "Happy birthday," and she was like, "Yeah," and then once she took the picture, it was like, "Yeah," and then she was like, she didn't do that. I think I just did, but her face just went directly down. It was like, which is really, it was really entertaining to watch someone drop a smile so fast. So next time you're taking a picture, do it however you want to do it. But I think it's better to do the smile, like, yeah, and then ease out of it. Say something that makes you light up, you know, thank you. Oh, okay. Well, let's do one more or something. But if you just go like, gee, it's just like, it's funny, but it just makes it less genuine, you know? I don't know. I like selfies the best because I feel like in life, if you have something that looks kind of thrown together the way a selfie does, there's just this realistic, naturalistic tone. I don't know if you get that from me, but I kind of like it when things are just kind of thrown together and you feel like someone's coming at it from a good place in their heart. And the point of it, the overall point of it, is there and clear, and you can hear it and experience it to its greatest value. But all the extra stuff is just like, well, this was what we found out. I don't know if you know that. And that's what a selfie feels like. We could see everybody's face. It's a good angle. It's above you. And it's like, we're having so much fun. We didn't have time to get a tripod or ask anybody. And I like that. The pose picture, there's always more, not only just because, like, someone's taking it and there's this expectation that, like, you worked on this, so it should be good. We should give everyone that leeway whenever they're doing anything in life, being like, this isn't their final product. But I can't wait to blow my nose. I feel like I've had to blow my nose for a long time, but I don't really want to. I also don't know if I can. I don't know if I need to. I just feel like I got off the plane still, and I want to feel that. Anyway, I feel like when you take the picture and you have someone taking it, or you set it up, and then, which my mom and dad, you give my mom a phone to take a picture with, she will just take the whole picture. Like, there's no zooming in. There's no, like, it's just, you'll see everything from like 3 feet above you to 3 feet below you to 3 feet each side, like, just in case, which you can zoom in later, but it's just so funny to see, like, this is interesting to you. Is this picture of like, I'm barely in the pic because I'm in the picture. I'm definitely in it. And the whole thing of me's in it, but you can zoom in, like, oh, the face is nice or whatever. You don't need to see their whole. Anyway, I think the stage pictures, unless you have a professional, it's like, well, you just got to enjoy it. I realized early on, because when I did Last Comic Standing, we had to do a lot of pictures with people, which is, I'm weird brag. But if you, like, focus on your eyes not drooping, you're like, see, then you're at least going to have that. So that's a little tip. You can just, like, open your eyes, but it also can look crazy, which is good for a comedian, but maybe not good for, like, a wedding with your in-laws picture. Like, Anyway, that's it on that. Yeah. Next week I'll be getting my kid to sleep again. So this was an outlier. I love all of you. Thank you for listening, sleepers. You're out there, and I know it, and we're growing. If you have any suggestions, if you want to enter the contest, you got 1 week to drop me a line of the VHS. And if you've listened to every episode and I didn't mention it, then you can tell me that too. The special will be out if you come see me live. The special's not out yet, so you could see it, kind of parts of it now, but also kind of a lot of the new stuff. And then once the special's out, I think it's going to be a lot more new stuff. But I'll be in Minneapolis, Minnesota, November 6th through the 9th, and then Cincinnati, Ohio on November 13th, which is really Liberty Township, but they call it the Cincinnati Funny Bone. And then November 16th, I'll be in Canton, Ohio, not for the NFL Hall of Fame. I know that's confusing for people. I will be doing a show at this place called the Oracle with an A. So I don't know if that's like the Matrix or not. And then the next week I'll be in California at Carmel by the Sea. And then I'm opening for Kathleen Madigan in Riverside and El Cajon. And then the next weekend after Thanksgiving, I'll be in Eau Claire, Wisconsin at the Plus. All these tickets are available on my website. And thanks for the write-ins. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Let me know. I love you. The end.